Leo ni Wednesday. Wednesday inakuwaga siku ya clinic. Clinic ya mfuko. And I think now more than ever, this clinic, my friend, is much needed. Today we want to talk about just tips on how to survive harsh economic times. And I want to ask you a question, our question for the day, even as we get into this discussion. What are some of the strategies you're using to survive these harsh economic times? Kuna tu adjustments umemake mahali. What are some of those strategies that you are using to be able to make ends meet even as things have become hard? Talk to me on 20316 for SMS and WhatsApp 0786 316 316. This morning, I get the honor to hang out with the CEO of Centonomy, Waithaka Gatumia. How are you doing?
Mzuri.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
You are the right man for this interview.
I pray so. I pray for God's grace to share what is necessary in season.
In season. You know, I've been saying this over the last couple months that we have become such a complaining country. And I think we need to change that. You know, we are always complaining about this, complaining about that, complaining about that. And when you complain, you become blind to even what you can do. Because now it's not because of me, it's because of Waithaka. If you deal with Waithaka, the things will become better.
Everything will be well.
Yes.
So I think there's, you're right, I agree with you.
Yes.
And I think we should be looking for solutions. But I think there's also a place for dialogue. And I think even on a day like today, when we are looking as a country and saying, look, there's a part of our population who are dissatisfied with what the government is doing, and they want to express themselves. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's necessary because any kind of criticism will allow you to begin to think and bring solutions along the way. But that can't be everything.
That can't be everything.
Okay? So there's a place for all for each one of these actions that's in place. I think and that's why I love coming here, because here I can be as free as possible.
Here you can pray in tongues.
I can. If it is necessary for what we are doing, we can be able to do that. And it is for us, especially as believers, to understand where our source is. When the psalmist said that all my fountains are in you, and you recognize that God is our source all the time.
All the time. God
was Noah's source in the flood. You see, that's the thing. We don't want the flood.
No.
No one wants the flood. I don't think even Noah wanted the flood at all, okay? No. But to recognize that even in the flood, that God is our source. Even in exile, God was our source.
Yes.
Wherever you are, God is your source. In good times, God is your source. In bad times, God is your source. And so since your source does not change, then we walk with a confidence that is different from others. And I think that's what we need to begin to get. I'm not saying be lazy, I'm not saying sit back and be passive, but it's vital as believers to keep on recognizing who our source is.
Very true.
Because it's so easy to be distracted by everything that's going on in the world. So that's why I'm happy to be here, because I think we come in. I don't think there's ever been a season where we can say this is now easy.
No.
And by the way, economically, I think it was 1992, 93, that period. I think we had inflation in Kenya near 45%.
Wow. So
when bread was 7 shillings last year, the next year it was 15 bob.
Yes.
That doubled.
Yes.
Yes, there have been, it is tough. I'm not trying to say it's not tough.
It's tough.
But God has brought us through much worse, and will bring us through whatever comes out.
Very, very true. And I think the importance then of the conversation I want us to have today, because one of the things sometimes we neglect to do is to step back and ask ourselves, now that this is what I have to deal with, what adjustments can I make, and what new opportunities can I see because of this? This was not there before, but now it's like this. You know, and so what are some tips you can give us? Because we can complain as much as we want about the harsh economic times. They won't change because we are complaining. But we can find wisdom to know how to navigate through them and even find opportunities. Some people found opportunities during COVID. While everybody else was complaining about how they've lost jobs and things like that, other people made some serious money. Same scenario.
So as you said, it's an attitude issue. And people always get surprised. When we're training at Centonomy, there's a sense in which people come in expecting that this will be a budgeting class. We spend all of maybe 20 minutes discussing a budget out of 30 hours because you already know a budget. So it's about understanding what is happening in that space.
Yeah.
Then people get frustrated because we don't go straight into an investment class. Because again, here's the thing. Doesn't matter how much I preach here about the stock exchange, about mutual funds, about real estate. We can talk here for 15 hours. But if you don't have the money to invest, what does it matter to you?
It doesn't matter.
It has no meaning.
Yes.
So you see, we have to address the individual first. Because we've discovered that successful people get into a habit and they are consistent over time. And that's where they beat everyone else.
Everyone, yes.
You will find, I always make this joke, but it's true. You will find that there's someone in your class when you were in high school.
Yes.
You'll beat him or her every single time there were exams.
Yes.
Now you talk fast forward many years later. This person who used to destroy in exams is wealthier than you, has more money than you. Why? They got into a habit. They got into a system. They got disciplined around it. And because they have done that consistently over time, that will generally defeat those people who are creative but inconsistent. So even as we talk now, we can be biblical here and talk about the idea of stewardship.
Yes.
That it's never been that idea of that you have to suddenly have exponential growth. That's God's part. He is the one who said 100-fold, 1,000-fold. The thing is to be faithful with what you have. So that the servant Matthew 25, the servant with 5 gifts, 5 talents, which is money. Talents was money.
Yeah.
And the one with 2, the expectation was not that the 2 would bring 10.
No.
But at least bring 2 more.
Yeah.
Even the one who was given 1, the expectation, if they had brought 1, I love that scripture. Because in that scripture, it says that the reward for the one of 5 who brought 5 more, and the reward for the one who had 2 who brought 2 more was exactly the same. In fact, if you read those scriptures, it's the same wording.
The same one, yeah.
So the responsibility that God has given us with what you have, each according to their ability.
Yes.
So with what God has given you, are we being faithful? That's just the thing. And being faithful is not just sitting back and waiting and hoping that something is going to change, but rather taking what you have and seeing what you can do. I love talking to Christians, especially about money, because money requires faith. And as Christians, one of the things that we should have is what?
Is faith.
Faith.
Yes.
And the frustrating thing for people, especially around this issue of investments, is that investments require faith.
Faith. True.
Just like farmers.
Yes.
If you look at a farmer, they take seed and they apply faith. Applied faith is planting.
Planting.
Now, once you plant, farmers are the best example. Let me tell you, because they sit back and they do what? Wait. Yes, you can do a bit of weeding, you can water, you can do that, but you have zero control as to the fruit that comes out of it.
Very true.
And that's what we have to begin to think about. So our approach towards investment must include faith. And that's why out of the business environment, entrepreneurs are really they are like farmers.
Yeah.
They have faith.
They have faith.
This idea is going to work. I am opening a shop. Imagine customers will come. Where do you have a guarantee that they will come? Who can guarantee it? No one. But if you don't act in faith, that's the one guarantee I can give you. If you're not saving, if you're not investing, if you're not opening a business right now, the one guarantee is there will be no return. That's the one guarantee I can give you. But you will open a business and there's a potential for a return to come. And that's where the difference is made. So when we talk about that as an attitude, it is an attitude of faith. In the business world, they don't call it faith. They'll give it other names like the greater fool. There's an economic term called the greater fool who invests during times. They use biblical terms like angel investors who invest in small businesses that have not yet proven themselves necessarily beyond a certain point. They'll use other terms just so they're trying to say have faith. Right?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I think the Bible also speaks about it. You know, you try different things because you don't know which one will give a return.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't it? So do it. These are all principles that we have.
I think Waithaka, for many of us, we have believed what I have is not even enough. You know, with the fuel has gone up, all these things that we are talking about. So you're thinking, my pool remains the same, meaning it's now even less than what I had before. And so when you tell me to invest or you tell me to open a business, I'm wondering, where do I even get the money to do that? Because what I have is not even enough for me right now. So how do I get myself out of that predicament?
Yeah. So as I always say,
Yeah.
in our country, there are those who don't even have food today. For that one person, that's where the difference is as far as our community is concerned.
Okay.
We must support those who are in need. So if somebody doesn't have food for their family today, we have a responsibility.
We have
to
a
feed
responsibility,
them.
yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if there's somebody in your community like that, feed them. I always encourage people, if somebody is actually on the street and begging, I know people make judgment on them. Why can't they? Well, you don't know their
you don't know their story.
You don't know where they are coming from.
Yeah.
Give. Right? Our responsibility is to give. But to everybody who has a job, who has energy in their body, who wakes up and goes and does something that is productive, now here is the challenge. How are we doing on ourselves? And I've talked about this before, and I continue to talk because it is a principle. For majority of the people, they have no clue where their money is going. And until you take control of your cash, we can't have a discussion.
I think sometimes because we have believed what we have is so little, it's not even worth figuring out where it's going because it's not enough anyway. Yeah. So we don't bother.
We do an exercise in the class.
Yeah.
And it's a psychological exercise.
Okay.
So we put up an example. Here is a person. They are X age and they earn this amount. These are their bills, we tell. This is how much they spend on this. This is how much they spend on this. This is how much they spend on this. This is how they do it. And this is the bottom line at the end. And they say, we have no money, we cannot invest. You are now the advisor. Give them advice.
Give them advice.
The number of hands that go up in the class, they tell you, this. Look how much they're spending on rent. They can move house. Look how much they're spending on food. They can cut down on that, carry food to the office. Look how much they're doing. These are the students in the class because we have made them into financial advisors.
Yes.
Look, this person can do this, this, and this, and this, and this. So I turn it around immediately on them and ask them, and you?
Ooh. Mine is different.
Do you know how easy it is?
Yes.
To tell someone else what to do with their money.
Yeah.
Because you are dispassionate about it. And we'd never do that same assessment on ourselves. And the reason why, I think there are a couple of reasons actually why we don't do it. It's an issue of ambition. And we use different words in the world to describe this thing called faith.
Yeah.
Faith, another word they use for faith is ambition.
Ambition.
The problem with faith is this. If you set an expectation or a goal or an outcome, then it puts pressure on you.
Yes, it does. It does.
If you say, I would like to live in that house. You see, we are non-specific with our goals, even financially. We say, I want to live in a nice house. That's my ambition.
Yes.
That has zero meaning. If you tell people or you say to yourself, I want to live in a 3-bedroom house. It's on Kiambu Road and it'll cost me 10 million shillings. Suddenly, there are two things that happen. Opportunity for success or failure. Without an ambition, without a goal, you're sitting pretty. No one is ever going to hold you accountable to it, including yourself. And so if you have not set a goal, can't help you. Even with investments, I always make that analogy so people can get it. The best investment, because let me tell you the number of times somebody will come and ask me, which one should I choose? Should I choose shares? Should I choose starting a business? Should I choose a government bond? Which one is the best?
The best for what?
And my very next question is, what's the goal? Because without a goal, investments have no meaning. So we address the individual. At Centonomy, we have to address you. Because the problem is not investments. Investments have always been there. They'll continue to be there. And investments, and that's the thing, it requires faith because some will succeed, some will fail. Even the most secure investments, even the most secure, people have failed. Land, people have lost land. People say land always appreciates. People have said government bonds never fail. They are almost guaranteed. Did we not read about what happened in Ghana where the government failed, they defaulted on a bond? Now, it's not a commonplace thing, but guess what? It can happen. So what are we discussing here, friends? We are saying, if you're sitting back and waiting for the government to solve your problems, I said this when I met the chair, Honorable Kuria, of the chair of the Finance Committee who brought the bill to Parliament. And we were sitting around, I said, the problem, please Kenyans understand, these people in Parliament, they're trying to solve the problems of over 50 million people with one document. Imagine they're not solving your individual issues. So please solve your own problems. It's time for us to say, I have a responsibility where I am, and I take that responsibility. And if we each take our responsibility where we are, then the opportunities will show themselves.
So once I do that, I take stock of where my money is going. Once I know that, then what next?
Now we begin to set goals. That's the thing. It's to say, I want this. Name it. Name it. Say, I want to go on holiday at the end of this year. And I want to go debt-free. When you say that, immediately now you start looking for solutions. So you're saying, if you want to go, I'm always struck by this. I'm sure you've traveled to the coast and you've met a few tourists. Sit and talk with them. I did one time. And you hear stories. You see the tourist here. You don't know where they came from until you ask. I asked this father with his children as well, because I was with my kids as well. I said, so where are you from? We talked, I was from Europe. And he was saying, it's so great to be here in Kenya. We've been here for about 6 days so far. And we have another 6 days before we travel back. And these are the different things that we're doing. I said, how do you afford this? And he said, we've been planning for years.
Wow. For years?
Yes. So that when we actually go, we go and enjoy. But people don't want that responsibility because guess what? Here's the thing. I want to go on holiday in December. It will cost me 100,000 to take my family out for a good holiday. What does that mean? 10,000 to this month. It means a deposit of 30,000. But people don't want to make that deposit. What I want is to arrive in December. Let's go. And then we go, you remove the credit card, you remove whatever else you borrow, so that you apparently enjoy. At the whole time you're there, you're doing calculations as to how am I going to repay this. Instead of having planned in advance. So set the goal. And the goal doesn't have to, people always think about, when you talk about money and investments and growth, that it's all about some future date that will never come. No. Set goals now, set goals 5 years, set goals 10 years, but plan for the enjoyment that you want even today.
Okay. Thank you for your responses. David Lokabete, you say in such times one has to limit expenses on non-essentials. This is boosted by living on a budget, and it helps eliminate impulsive spending. And you say getting additional income earning streams also comes in handy. John Githanga in Nakuru, you say, honestly, I've not made any significant adjustment in relation with the present economic meltdown. I've just continued tithing and offering as usual to my spiritual entities, and my God has been faithful in supplying all my needs according to his riches in glory. Thank you very much for that comment. Well, Waithaka, back to the question I was asking. Because the focus is on what I have is not enough. So if you're telling me to have goals and to plan, I'm thinking, where is the extra that I will put into those goals and those plans going to come from?
It's never enough.
It's never enough.
It'll never be enough, really. And part of the direction that we look at that will head towards success is this issue of control. So many times, what we are saying when we say, when we speak about financial freedom, is that we are saying, I don't want to take responsibility. I just want money to come.
Yes. Money floweth.
Money just flows.
Yes.
I don't have to worry where it came from.
Yes.
That's what we're actually saying. So let's be honest with ourselves. We're not saying that we want more money. We're saying we want less responsibility.
Yes.
Which is a tough place to be. However, we're also saying, what I love to talk to young people because they have a great opportunity. And guess what? This is a lesson I learned here.
Oh, really?
Yes, from Mr. Leo Slingerland, who I thank God for in my life. He made such a difference in my life. Because when I came out of university, I was looking for work, and he gave me a job.
Yes.
And one of the things that he told me, I still remember till this day, I tell everybody who works with me and for me.
Yeah.
He told me, get involved. He told me, this is a small organization.
Yes.
You have this responsibility, but don't limit yourself to this responsibility.
Yeah.
Get involved. What was he trying to say to me, and hopefully I'm saying here, is that we have to get the equation correct. And for many people, the idea is, give me more money, and I will be more productive.
Yes. Yes.
Okay? So we are encouraging our teams to work harder, and they're saying, no, pay me for the harder work first.
Then I'll do it.
That's not how it works. The value equation is always this. If I am more valuable, this is Dr. Miles Monroe. If you're valuable, money will follow you.
Yeah.
It is not money follows people to make them more valuable.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It is things of value. Gold. Gold is valuable because it is rare. And so people are willing to go, if you ever go to South Africa, go 3 kilometers into the ground to dig out. Yes. There are mines there are 3 kilometers deep to find this thing called gold because it is rare.
Yeah.
Just the same way as a hard worker is rare. Somebody who is a thinker is rare. Somebody who is a problem solver is rare.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what area you're in, you are a rare person. Think about it this way. I've had people talk about their house helps. And they say, this house help has been with us for decades. Why? Because they are rare. They solve problems. They are trustworthy. They are those people who... I have a friend who was moving house. The house help wanted to leave. They doubled their salary.
Yes.
I know of a house help is being paid 50,000 shillings per month.
Wow.
Yes. Being what? A house help. You would think this is now when minimum wage is around 13,000, 14,000 shillings, and they are being paid 50,000. Why? Because they are valuable to their employer. I have a friend who's an executive. Wherever he moves with his executive assistant. Yeah. Because he's saying, I don't want to train somebody else. She knows how to manage my calendar. She knows how to respond to my emails. And I don't, wherever I go, she's part of the package. She's part of the package. So to those who are saying, I don't have enough, yes, you don't. What are you going to do about it? That's the challenge. Because we're sitting back and waiting for everybody else to solve our problem. Boss, give me more money so I can become more valuable. No, that's not how it works. It is bring more value, and your boss will be forced to give you. And if your boss doesn't notice that, by the way, you'll be headhunted. Yeah. Why? Because let me tell you, as an employer, it is so much easier to look and see, oh, that person is a hard worker. I get along with them. They are bringing results in that organization. I don't need to go through the hiring process. I don't need to do a whole interview process, whatever. Just what do we need to do to agree with one another? Yeah. That's it. Because it's a value equation. And if we get that value equation right, more money will come your way. It's never going to be enough. Can I give a quick example of that? I think I mentioned it last time, but I always give it. Where in the estate we had the watchman. He was earning minimum wage. The guy looked around and he said, you know what? I'm here every night. How many cars are here? He counted them. 10, 15 cars. So he said, okay, if I wash 2 cars every night, what's going to happen to my income? He doubled his income by washing cars. I'm here. I'm watching. I'm protecting your cars. Now that I'm here, I'm not even going to charge you market rate of 300 shillings for a car wash. Give me 200. And he doubled his income.
And for you, you're thinking, such convenience. I'll wake up, my car is clean.
washed.
I don't have to think about it.
Does not matter what level you are, there are always problems to be solved. And if you come at issues around you from a value conversation, it's a completely different space. And God is not a liar. As a man sows, so shall he reap. It is the one who sows, not the one who reaps first.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Yes.
And how are you sowing? You're sowing time, energy, creativity. Sit down, think, solve problems.
I think that's the equation right there that many people don't know how to crack. Because we've not been taught to solve problems. Instead, we complain about problems that are there, that are opportunities. I was saying this, was it yesterday or the day before, that the reason why many of us miss opportunities is because they come dressed in overalls or they come dressed as problems. And so we don't want to deal with them.
Yeah. And it's called situational blindness.
Okay.
That's what it's called. You cannot see what you're not looking for or what you're not paying attention to. You can't see it. Literally. I tell people, do this. In fact, you can do this exercise at home. Can we try?
Yes.
Let's do this. Look around your room, wherever you are. I want you to look for all the red items. Like you see in our room here, we've got this red chair.
Yes.
We've got that red
You can see that
thing
red
there.
thing,
What
yes.
else is red here in this room? There's some red there. Good. There's red on the screen there. Good. Close your eyes now. Good. Name all the blue things in this room.
At least I know there's the curtains.
That's it. Now open your eyes and look for all the blue. How many things
But
are
even
blue?
you have blue.
You can't see it unless you're looking for it.
Unless you're looking for it.
That's the issue. And so you will never see an opportunity unless you're looking. And here's the thing. When you try some of these things, they won't work. Some of them will fail. But guess what? Some of them will bear fruit beyond what you can imagine if you just try. So it comes back to that faith perspective.
Okay.
We have to get there. We have to get into this mode that I'm going to try. And when I talk to entrepreneurs all the time, I talk to senior executives all the time. They are not perfect people. It's just that they keep trying.
They keep trying. So are you saying to me that everyone, wherever we are, there's an opportunity and there's something we can try, but we haven't seen it because we are not looking for it?
Yes. It is.
And we see people who tried and they succeeded and we say they're lucky.
They're lucky.
Or they have a rich uncle somewhere. Ama walipewa tender.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
I've worked at Centonomy for nothing.
Wow.
Before I joined
Yes.
as a full-time trainer,
Yes.
and before I became part of the team,
Yes.
I worked for nothing. They would call, because every company goes through that. So I was a part-time trainer at that time. They'd call and say, there's a job, can you come and help? Say, go and you do the work. Then there's some times that, every business goes through cycles.
Yes.
And they would call and say, Waithaka, now, look, here's the thing. There's work. But the payment, it may be delayed or not come. Are you willing to come? Yeah. I showed up. One time, there was an event at Centonomy. We had one of those open day events.
Yeah.
This was before I was part of the team.
Yeah.
The guy that had gotten to be an MC was sick, could not show up. On the day, that morning, they called me and said, Waithaka,
Come help us here.
Can you help us out? Show up. Show up, because you don't know what the result of that would be. You're building what is called social capital. Many times, I'll be called and I'll go. Why? Because the person that I'm going to meet in that place, I don't know when, but it will come back to you.
Okay.
Help that person, because you don't know when. Even help the person who you don't think will ever be able to help you. Give them an opportunity. Give them an ear. Just listen. You will see the result of that over time.
There's something I've heard you talk about, and I think it's important. Maybe we can rope it into this conversation. I've heard you talk about wastage in our lives, because we get into a particular rhythm. Everybody has a rhythm of life. And so when things change financially, We don't want to change our rhythm. And somebody once told me everybody has wastage. So talk to us about that. How do I see my wastage? What adjustments can I make?
It's so funny. I do this all the time. Anytime we enter, I was doing this yesterday. We were training some executives in Waithaka. And I just told them, everyone get out your mobile phone.
Yeah.
Let's go through your M-Pesa messages for the last few months. And it doesn't have to be M-Pesa. It can be your bank statement. It can be, if you're in Airtel money, doesn't matter which money transfer system that you're using. And I said, let's go through your messages for 1 month. No one wants to do it.
Why?
Because no one wants to know the truth. They know. You know in your heart that there's something in there that I don't want to know.
Yes.
I'm literally burying my head in the sand. And that's the thing. So if you have no awareness, we talk about that in the class. I can't remember who said it, but awareness is the greatest agent for change. All right? It's the same reason we don't want to step on the weighing scale. Because the moment you step on it, now you know the truth.
Now you know the truth.
Yes.
And you have to deal with it.
Now you know this thing is real.
This thing has
what
gotten
must
out
I
of-
do?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So the person who's saying, I want to change, must first recognize where they are now. It's like going on a journey. If you're going on a journey, you must know two things. Your current status and where you're heading.
Your destination.
Because if you know the 2 points, now it's about finding your way between the 2 points.
Yes.
But if I don't know where I am, I cannot, even if I know where I want to go, but I don't know where I am, I can't travel.
You can't.
Because I have no context, I have no orientation.
Yes.
And so we often don't want to know the truth. Because the truth is hard. And then it forces you to make decisions.
To make decisions, which you're not ready for.
I mean, we get into habits. We get into habits where we're like, I like, this is, and it's at all levels. We were training some vendors, You know the vendors on the street for these fast-moving consumer goods.
Yes.
So you have a small stall which you essentially carry and you put it down. And then you're on where there's a lot of foot traffic, so you sell sweets, you sell sodas, you sell whatever. So we were training a group of vendors around this. And they were like, these harsh economic times, even as we have no money, it's everybody else's fault. The suppliers are always increasing prices. The customers are not coming.
Customers are not buying.
Okay. So we said, let's do an assessment.
Yeah.
So what do you spend in a day? Yourself. So they began to take us through, and these people were saying, so in the morning when you arrive, you usually get a cup of tea and a kamandazi or KDF.
KDF,
you know, so you have that. And then, so at about lunchtime, so you buy your hot lunch, right? And then after lunch, in the afternoon, so you get some fruit, because the fruit vendor is going to come. And then before you go home, there's usually a uji that is served at that time. We added it up. And all of them were spending nearly 250 shillings a day.
Daily, on food.
On food for themselves, not even their family. That's nearly 80,000 shillings a year.
Wow.
And I asked each one of them, did you leave some food at home? Yes. So why didn't you carry it for that day?
Yeah.
I want hot lunch. So we now they began to, no, first I want hot lunch. Then the next excuse was, if I don't buy, what's going to happen to that vendor who's not going to be able to sell that day? Who said that their problems are yours to solve? I mean, we have to be real with ourselves. We don't want the truth because the truth is difficult to handle.
Yeah.
And we don't want to make the choices that are going to get us to that place because we want easy solutions, me included. Why do you think every time you go online, if you look at the ads that are fed to you, you will see fastest way to lose weight, the easiest way to lose weight.
Yes.
We pay for all these different ones.
We pay for all those things. We pay for them.
Let me tell you.
Because we want shortcuts.
Talk to any doctor, they'll tell you all diets work. They all work.
They all work.
Just use one.
Yeah.
The problem is we want ease, not the diet. Yeah, you actually, if you want to lose weight, you have to eat less. It's a simple fact. That's it.
That's it.
It's a calorie deficit issue.
Yeah.
And people, it's a simple thing like that. If you want to save and increase your wealth, you have to take control of your money.
Simple.
It is simple, but it's not easy. And that's the difference. So when you think about anyone who has found success, I use this example every time. Eliud Kipchoge does not do anything complex. Running is not rocket science. How do you run? You put one foot in front of the other faster than anybody else. That's how you do it. But try and be successful in it. What does it mean? Those athletes wake up every week and run more than 100 kilometers per week. That's how they become successful.
Yeah.
And many of them are successful. Many of them are not Eliud Kipchoge, but they're making money because they are consistent in the work that they're doing. It is simple. It's not easy. Even business owners, I'm always surprised. I mean, like, we train entrepreneurs in our classes at Centonomy, right? And one of the things that we talk about is, have you achieved the break-even point? Are you profitable? And I am shocked by the number of entrepreneurs who don't even know whether they are profitable or not. Because they have never actually detailed their pricing. They have never actually detailed their sales in a month. They just simply know, today we sold this amount, and this is the money that came in. How much money went out? We don't know. How much money did I take? I don't know. They don't even know how they make money from their own business.
Wow.
So it's an issue of responsibility, an issue of control. But come on, guys, we must wake up and recognize that we have a responsibility. We are adults. And this thing called adulting, this is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Adulting is about making choices. In Kikuyu, that's what I learned. My grandmother taught me this. You know, when you get married as a gentleman, you're called a modhuri. And I used to wonder, what is a modhuri? What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's a literal translation. You are a maker of choices. You are the one who now makes decisions. And she challenged me and said, now you are the one in your home to make decisions. Does your family move? Why do they move? What are you going to do? How are things going to go on? That is your work. And when I think about it, sorry, for 1 second, when I think about it, isn't that the same thing that God called us to do? He called man in Genesis and he said, work. So work was not a curse. No. He gave us dominion.
Yes.
And he said, over the fish. He said not over other men. He said over the fish, the birds, anything that crawls, over all the earth, but not over other people.
No.
But to take dominion is to take responsibility. And it was for us to do exactly the thing that God did. God took disorder and chaos and brought it into order. And he said, my children, do exactly the same thing. There will always be chaos and disorder. What is your work? Is to bring it.
Bring order. Somebody once told me that without order there can be no growth. And that's the problem many of us are having in our finances. So in essence, you're saying it's not what you have, it's what you do with it.
That's it. These things are not complex. They're simple.
Do you have, as we finish, because my time is almost up, because sometimes when we have conversations like this, people say in theory. There's one time I saw you were on another TV channel and you were having a similar discussion. I was watching the YouTube video and I went to the comments and I saw many of those comments. Huyu jamaa amejatuma theory. Hajui vile vitu ziko kwa ground. So do you have examples of people you've worked with, people you've helped, who are at the place where they thought they don't have much, what they have is not enough, and they have seen growth in their finances?
Thousands.
Give us one or two examples.
Please go to our YouTube channel, Centonomy. We've got a YouTube channel on Centonomy, and you'll see lots of testimonials of people who've come through. There's a gentleman who was in debt. Do you know how you're in debt? It was so funny. I've taken him to many TV stations, and he's told his story as well. But he was telling about how he was. I'll get him.
Yes.
He had a SACCO loan, he had a bank loan, he had a mobile loan, he had borrowed from his wife.
Hey.
I mean, this guy was in debt.
Hey.
Yes. So we take you through a debt repayment plan in the class. And we say, first of all, it's about taking control. The same thing, you have to have, how do you get out of debt? By paying it.
By paying it.
So then the question is, where is the money coming
by
from?
Praying for the debt
it's
to
not
be cancelled.
Pray, you pray. But after you pray, you work.
And pay.
Yes. Farmers pray for their plants. They do.
But they wake up.
But they plant.
And plant.
That's it. Anyway, so what do you do first? I told you it is the same principle over and over again. He did an assessment of his cash flows. He found all the gaps, the holes that were in his pocket, he plugged them. When he plugged those holes, he recognized there was an extra amount of money now that was going to other things that were not his plan. And he said, let me redirect this to repaying my loans.
Yeah.
So he said and it was in order. We always address debt in order.
Yes.
The debts that can wait, like he told his wife, let me pay these ones, then I'm coming back to you.
Yeah.
Okay, because you, at least, you can wait a bit. The bank is not going to wait. The interest is going to be. So he addressed and he started paying down the debt one by one by one. He did not believe he could be out of debt. One of my, it is a process.
It's a process.
He said, take the process. One of my dear friends, she's working now in Switzerland, was attending the class. Called me and said the same thing. I attended this class. I did not believe that I could be out of debt within a short period of time. Her testimonial is on our YouTube channel as well. And she said, in 6 months, I cleared my debt. Now I'm working on my investments.
Wow.
I'm telling you, Pastor James. People, if
we are out of time.
I'm telling you, if we don't make choices today,
yes,
we can complain about everybody. But the truth of the matter is we have agency. And if we take our responsibility, God will reward it. I have seen it in my life.
Awesome. Waithaka, thank you for coming, man. You're such a blessing. Thank you for always being here when we need you. Now, my friend, umesikiza vile tumeambiwa. Take assessment first, know where you are. Know where you want to go and then begin to chart the way there. It is possible. If God be for us, who can be against us? But we have to do our part. Clinic imefungwa. Daktari anaenda kuhudumia watu wengine. Kuna watu wengine, they need to be resuscitated back to life. Daktari yuko na kazi mingi sana leo. Until next week for another session on the Financial Clinic, do have a good day.
Thank you for watching. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notified whenever we upload new fresh content every day. Stay tuned and enjoy fresh, uplifting content.